Hello there, people. So today I am showing you the Horseman's Blade. Yes, I finally got one. It can be the best sword in pre-1.3 PC equivalent versions of the game. It can be, but it's not always. It's only in the right circumstances that it becomes the best sword, which is why I didn't really cover it in my swords guide. It has a base damage of only 75 versus the Terra Blade's 95, but in the right circumstances, it can become the best sword. So that's why I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the strengths and weaknesses. It has a base damage of only 75 versus the Terra Blade's 95. They both fire projectiles, but as you can see, Horseman's Blade doesn't fire them automatically. It's only when you make contact with an enemy versus the Terra Blade, which has these nice standard beam sword style projectiles, really. So one-on-one, direct one-on-one, the Horseman's Blade is not at its best, but yeah, most boss fights, it's not going to work at its best without some tweaks, which I am going to show you. I'm going to show you what makes it the best and how to make it the best, including for boss fights. So, you know, if you're just attacking a boss with it, it's not going to be the best, but you can tweak it, do some stuff, make it the best. Against large groups of enemies, it can be the best because it fires those homing pumpkin projectiles, which I can show you just like that. Here comes a pumpkin. And that can make it great against large groups of enemies. So let's show you, let's get on with it, and why it's the best, how it's the best, and so on. Alright, so this is actually a good example which just happened to come along. A goblin army. Horseman's Blade is very good against a large number of enemies because, as you can see, when a large number of enemies come along, you kill some with the sword, the other ones get hit with the pumpkins, and basically it's going to clear them out for you. But be careful with the auto swing, because when you're automatically swinging, it won't let you turn around. See, if I hold the button down, it just stays facing that way. I have to turn around and then let go of the button, hit it again. So if you're holding the button down with the auto swing, that's a thing. But you can see large groups of enemies, those pumpkins just come in and start clearing them out. As soon as you get contact with some of them, you're going to take those enemies out pretty quickly. Okay, so now I'm down here in the jungle temple to fight the golem because I still need a sunstone, and also because a boss fight is an excellent example of both the strengths and the weaknesses of the Horseman's Blade. So first of all, the weakness. One-on-one, I have to get in close. And, you know, that works early on, obviously, with this particular boss fight because I set up the arena okay. But he's still doing a decent amount of damage. Now, once that hand's off, I got to get in very close here, and I risk getting stomped. Now, if I can stay behind my wall, that's fine. But for a boss that's moving, and here we go. See, this is going to be a lot tougher. I have to get in close. I'm going to get blasted. Whereas the Terra Blade, I can just do this from a distance. And I can just use the beam sword aspect, if I get my angles right, do lots of damage from a distance, not get hurt too much. But where the Horseman's Blade can really shine in a boss fight is if you turn on a spawner, like I've got here, with a heart statue and a slime statue. If I can get in there to turn it on. As he blasts me, and there you go, you know, another difficulty, but of course you would want to turn this on ahead of time. Now, I've got slimes automatically spawning, and they're not going to hurt me too much. And I can move around, let them build up, it's okay. And every time I kill one, a pumpkin is spawned, and the pumpkin is going to go ahead and kill him, as well as all the other enemies in the area. And I can do that at a distance, and that's where the Horseman's Blade can be useful in a boss fight. Now, you can also apply this to other things, like the Pumpkin Moon and the Frost Moon. You can set up your spawner, and I'm going to show you that as well, with and without the spawner, to show you, you know, how this can be used a little better. This is also why I got the heart statue in there, right? Because we need the help. And if you didn't notice, I put on beetle armor, actually. I've been a ranged character, but I did switch that out. You can see, it can take a long time, but if you set this up right, set up your arena, and set up a spawner, then you can do it at a distance with the Horseman's Blade, and those pumpkins will do quite a bit of damage. Depending on which boss you're fighting, how much defense they have, because again, the Horseman's Blade actually is a lower defense, or a lower power sword versus the Terra Blade. So if an enemy has a high defense, that's going to cut that damage down a lot. Because the direct attack is not so powerful. You really need to do a lot with those pumpkins. Now you can also set up probably multiple spawners. I do have a skeleton statue, and maybe I'll show you that with the pumpkin moon as well. And because those pumpkins, as I say, home in on whatever, that's another kind of downside to it. With all these extra enemies around, those pumpkins have to go and kill those enemies and not just the boss. You don't get to choose what they're actually going to hit. So I still did not get my sunstone, but let's move along and I'll show you how it works on an invasion event like the pumpkin moon. Okay, so here we are, set, ready to go for the pumpkin moon. Let me show you a couple things real quick too. I am using my emblems that I showed you in the emblem guide I did last week, including the fire gauntlet, because of course I've got melee equipment now and my moonstone and such. So I've set up a spawner now, as I say, with both the slime and the skeleton. That should help out a bit as well. And we're gonna give this a go. I've got my heart statue. I've got all my other little boosts around here, and I'm gonna show you that the pumpkin moon, or sorry, the Horseman's Blade can be used on an event like the pumpkin moon to get a little bit of an extra boost as well. I'll, mix it up, because again, the advantage and disadvantage, the disadvantage is you have to get close, but the advantage is on something like this, that gives you an excuse to get close. So I can mix it up with the early waves here. I can just get right in there, although I don't want to get too close to my own spikes, but I can kind of get right in there, mix it up with them directly, let some of them spawn, and obviously without the spawner active, there's only so much that I can do. But if I turn that spawner on, that's gonna basically help me generate those pumpkins that I need. I'll get my buffs active as well. And then I can basically just sit here and auto swing the spawner, and that's gonna make a huge, huge difference. We're just gonna waste these guys. By using the spawner, the pumpkins just automatically fly in. I'm no longer just waiting for the traps to finish all these guys. The spawner's doing the job. I think that the Horseman's Blade would get me closer to finishing it without this giant trap arena. I have my doubts that I would be able to do it even still. So, I'll just sit here using the spawner. And again, I had to wait for the bosses, mini-bosses, whatever you want to call them, to come up into my arena before. And now I don't have to do that. I can sit here and my pumpkins will attack them from outside of that. And, I still probably want them to come in here. But, and that's another thing. I can run away from the spawner, and it's just, okay, we're going to spawn some extra guys. And then we'll kill them all at once. And all those pumpkins will come, and we'll just really annihilate everybody. So, again, the spawner strategy for bosses and Frost Moon, Pumpkin Moon, the spawner is going to help you out a lot. I mean, there's just no denying that. If you set it up with a spawner, it's an more of an advanced strategy, of course, and that's why I didn't declare it, the best general purpose sword, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not. If you don't really know what you're doing exactly, then it's not going to work that well for you. But if you do know what you're doing, if you set it up just right, you're going to do quite well by using the Horseman's Blade. And this is, you know, kind of a test for me as well, because I haven't quite gotten to wave 15 of the Pumpkin Moon yet. I got to wave 14. I was really, really close when I did finally get the Horseman's Blade. But I didn't quite make it, so let's see. Let's see if this helps. Still gonna help if I can get those bosses to come up here into the arena. Maybe if I stand here on the stairs. And now I can of course mix it up directly with the bosses. Every contact is going to spawn some pumpkins, so of course, as a melee player, this is why you have very powerful armor. This is why I switched to the beetle armor, because this just wasn't going to work otherwise. If I used my ranged armor with melee weapon, I was going to die. Oh, there's the Headless Horseman. Now there's one character I may not want to get close to, because the Headless Horseman does his damage up close. Which I guess, I don't know, a lot of people have wondered, well, if it's the Horseman's Blade, why do you get it from the Pumpkin? Maybe that's why. Well, not why you get it from the Pumpkin, but why it makes sense at least that the Horseman's Blade is the Horseman's Blade, certainly not the Pumpkin's Blade, because it's a close-up weapon. And the Headless Horseman's a close-up kind of guy. So you can see pumpkins flying everywhere. And in fact, the more enemies there are, the better this is going to do, because you're just going to overload the whole screen with pumpkins. The more you have to make contact with, the better this sword is going to do. So, there you have it. Horseman's Blade. It's a good sword. Got me very far in the Pumpkin Moon. But, still didn't get me all the way through it. And, yeah, really just making use of the spawners is the main thing. And that's how you really make use of the Horseman's Blade. You either need a huge number of enemies around you to begin with, or you need a spawner. In order to get all those pumpkins working for you. And I don't know, I think it's still pretty debatable. I'm sure people can do a better job than what I did with the Horseman's Blade, but I think it's still very debatable which is the better sword overall, Terra Blade or the Horseman's Blade. With those spawners, with the right setup, certainly in some circumstances the Horseman's Blade is better. But you know, general purpose, overall easy to use, personally I'd still go with the Terra Blade. So there's my review, my overview, and why I didn't declare the Horseman's Blade the best overall sword in pre-1.3 versions of the game. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.